Hey everybody, it's Zach. Welcome back to the Heroverse. Guys, I just got done with episode 4 of Moon Knight. This will be my spoiler review. As you guys know, if you've been a part of my channel, I do spoiler reviews here. This episode confused the shit out of me. It had me at first, and then it lost me. It went full WandaVision. It confuses me a little bit on understanding what the hell's going on. I think I'm still gonna have to process this, maybe watch this episode one more time and go online and check out people's breakdowns and maybe like people like that actually really know in depth of the comics or anything that maybe can give me some of an insight on what is happening. So I'm gonna check out New Rockstars videos in case for anybody who doesn't know who New Rockstars are. I mean, I'd be shocked if anybody didn't know, but New Rockstars does breakdowns on pretty much all Disney Plus shows, all sorts of movies and everything. They're really great. Go check them out. I'm definitely gonna have to go check them out after I'm done doing my video, but they had me in this episode. I really enjoyed what we were doing in the beginning of this episode. We continue off where, Mark and Steven are dropped to the ground. Layla's trying to figure out, what's going on. And there are people there, which I'm assuming Arthur Harrow's people, searching for Layla and Mark, pretty much trying to make sure that they don't get to Ammit's tomb. At least that's what I think, which would make valid sense, but who knows? I mean, it's out in the dark right now in the sands of, Egypt right now. Who knows? It could be anybody out there, but I'm assuming it's Arthur Harrow's people looking for Layla and Mark, essentially. And that was a cool moment where, she can't wake up Mark or Steven, and so essentially she goes behind the car, throws a flare. And I didn't know what she threw at first, but it seems to be she threw a flare at, a box of ammo, which would make sense because it's, shot out arrows, with bullets and stuff from when, the heat went on them and they must have shot out and killed all those people in that vehicle. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, that's what she would have done. You know what I mean? That said that they were, ammo that was in there for, the big gun that they had on the car. So that was pretty cool to see her do that, just to get them out of there so she could, get up Mark. But Mark ended up Steven ends up just standing there because I guess Steven is now in control of the body like he was when he dropped to the ground when Khonshu got, put in stone. So that was a cool adventure that we see them going on. And it was funny because, Steven's like, oh, I'm really happy, that we're going to be on this adventure and stuff. And Mark's like, let me take over. This is too dangerous. You don't have the raps of Khonshu anymore. You need me for this because this is dangerous now. And I don't want you getting, my wife killed, essentially. I don't want you getting Layla killed. But Steven's not down for it. Steven said, we made a deal once that Khonshu went away that you would go away and you would leave me alone. So you have to stick to that deal. And we see that throughout the entire episode where they go back and forth on the deal and stuff. And he's like, oh, you're going to get my wife killed and all that. But it was really cool when we get to the moment where Layla stops the car and says, okay, we can go here on foot. Because Steven was not prepared to be going on foot. And I even told my sister, Steven needs to let Mark take over at this moment because you don't have any powers now. And you don't have any fighting capabilities. And you're on foot in the sands of Egypt. No, dude, you need to let Mark take over. I was like, I understand or whatever you think. He made an agreement, but it's not done yet. The task isn't done yet where you're going to be out of danger and everything will be all good. You should really let Mark take over. But he doesn't, and they have a moment where it's where it's Layla and Steven. They have a moment where they have to propel themselves down into the tomb or whatever to find Ammit's statue, because as we know she's in stone. So that was really cool in the moment where we get a little bit more of a romance between them both, and there was a moment where they were talking, Steven and Layla, and Mark, Steven ends up telling Layla about how Mark didn't want to leave, but he had to because he didn't want Khonshu to take over you, and Khonshu was threatening that. And that was before Layla was right as Layla was about to kiss Steven, which we see the romance between them and see that, she really likes Steven. Steven really likes Layla. And, before we even propelled down into the tomb, there was a moment where she tells, Steven to look for some supplies because right away we're at Arthur Harrow's dig site and no one's to be found. It's just an empty dig site. There's a whole bunch of it looks like they were there, but they're not there anymore. So they must be in the area trying to look for, Ammit's statue. So that was very scary to be okay, where are they? It's very silent, but their tents and all their stuff are here. And they're looking all for supplies. And there's a moment where, again, that Layla ends up leaving a room and we see a knife that has a ton of blood everywhere. And right away, I was like, did like Layla do that? And I was like, no. I was like, but did she? Because we didn't know right away like what that was all about. It was kind of a hint, like, okay, what's happening? Like, did they die? Are they in the tomb like worshiping Ammit right now? Did they find it? We don't know anything right now at this point. But then, they keep talking and stuff. They have a moment up top when they're about to propel down. They go in the tomb area, and we see statues, and we see like the lore of people looking over Ammit to like make sure, I guess, looking over, I guess, the tomb? It wasn't Ammit's tomb, but they were going in Alexander the Great's tomb, and we see like the people that were defending Alexander the Great's tomb, which were those black things. That's at least what I think they were, that were defending it from intruders and stuff, which, we do see those creatures end up killing a lot of Arthur Harrow's people. And that's when we find out, when that's all happening, that knife that we saw earlier in the episode is from one of those creatures that went out and I guess was killing people outside of the tomb and stuff, also killing people that went inside the tomb. So at this point, I'm like, oh my god, like, did like Arthur Harrow know this was all going to happen and he's just okay with this? I feel like he's okay with this in general because he runs a cult. So he doesn't care if his the followers die or not. So he doesn't care about sacrificing a couple of people, clearly, to get what he wants to free Ammit. But I don't know how he knows about how Alexander the Great has Ammit's statue inside him. I'm not quite sure how he knew about that, unless that thing, like, I'm assuming the scarab is the thing that is led him to that dig site, which was a dig site that we saw earlier in the I think in last week's episode. I think that was the dig site he was at, and they couldn't find it until they got the map from that one. I forget what that one, what was it, Bethany? They got the map from, they said in the beginning of the episode. I forget, but you guys know what I'm talking about. They got the map to lead them to where Arthur Harrow is, because Arthur knew by the scarab that's where Ammit's, statue would be, so they could free her, which is, again, going to be interesting to see how that's all going to play out, because we see, them ending up splitting up, Layla and Steven. And Steven ends up finding Alexander the Great's, coffin or sarcophagus, and ends up saying, okay, like, it's in the mouth of Alexander the Great, and Steven ends up getting it. And while Layla's trying to meet up with Steven, she encounters Arthur Harrow, and right away, of course, he's trying to get underneath her skin, so she will turn on Mark, because he knows when he, like, was trying to measure out, or, like, trying to, read, Steven, he knew that Mark was very, there was chaos inside him with Mark and everything, and how he was unbalanced and how he felt, a lot of pain and suffering because of the fact that he's lying to Layla about how his partner kills, Layla's father. And we end up finding that in this episode where, Arthur tells Layla that, no, like, you should really talk to Mark, you know what I mean? Like, because, he feels bad about what happened to your father, and he's like, Layla's like, what? So you're saying he killed my father? He's like, you said it, not me. Meaning that Mark isn't the one that pulled the trigger, but he's the one that led his partner there to pull the trigger on all the people that were at Layla's father's dig site. So, he like, in a way, Mark, felt like it was his fault because he led his partner there, and his partner did everything, and he tried saving Layla's father, but he wasn't able to, and his partner betrayed him and shot Mark, and that's when Mark found Khonshu's statue, and pretty much, that's when, Khonshu, endured him with the power. So that was very interesting that we're hearing all this, but I still really want to see it. And I don't know if we're going to get it because we only have like 2 more episodes left. So I don't know if we're going to see it at all. Who knows? We might see it. By the looks of it, maybe, because where we left off in this episode, because when Layla ends up leaving Arthur to go, and she you can tell she's really upset when she meets up with Steven, and Steven's like, oh, we got it, let's get out of here. She's like, no, I'm going to talk to Mark, you know what I mean? And I guess, like, he let Mark take over because, I guess, or Mark, I don't even know if Steven let Mark take over. I feel like Mark just is like, oh, crap, I think she knows now. And said, like, oh, like, did you have anything to do with my father's death? And he's like, no, I didn't, but my partner did, or whatever. And it kind of, like, at this point she couldn't trust him, but he's like, okay, I'll talk to you about it on the way. Like Mark's like, I don't want to talk about it here because we have it. Let's get out of here. Because mind you, Arthur Harrow is still trying to get to the where you're at to take the statue and take over. Like there's bigger things at hand. I understand that you're upset about if you want to know if Mark has anything to do with about your father's death, but like the world's at stake here, and that's what Mark was pretty much trying to tell her. Like, look, I'll tell you when we're on the way, but we can't stay here because Arthur is literally about to roll up in here in any moment with his followers and pretty much try to kill us. And she wasn't about it. She was just wanted to get the truth out finally. She got it out. She's like, at this point, they're about to walk in here, and he's like, hide or whatever, I'll hold them off. And we get the moment where, Arthur Harrow's like, look, you have peace now, like I did when I felt free when Khonshu left me. You can just walk away. You could, live your life. You could do whatever. And, of course, that's not what Mark does. He knows there's bigger things at hand here. And he knows that, like, in a way that what he has is not done. Whether Khonshu is put away or not, he knows that he has to do this and follow through on this. So he tries, he kills a couple of people, but then, of course, Arthur kills him, which shocked me. I was like, oh, that's holy shit. That was like a holy shit moment. Arthur just killed Mark and Steven. Like, what the heck? And then we see him fall into the water. And I saw it in a TV spot where he falls in water, and, like, we see, like, this cool magic stuff go on. So, like, falls in water. And then we see a light, which I thought was the moon. But no, it's a flashlight. And it looked like someone was walking through, like, a dark area. And I was like, okay, like, what's happening here? Like, this is what I was very confused about. And we end up finding out that there is these two people on this quest in the jungle. And I thought right away, who are these people? What's going on? And then the person turns around saying, I'm Stephen Grant or whatever. And I was like, oh my God. And we end up finding out that it's actually a movie that is being played in a mental hospital. And I was like, what the hell is going on right now? This is some WandaVision stuff. And that's where it comes in, where I was like, this is WandaVision. What's happening? And we knew that, like, in the trailers and stuff, that he was going to be in a padded room or, like, be in a mental facility. But I thought that, like, it wouldn't have been like this, where it's like they're trying to show us that, was this all in his head? And I remember my friend Troy being concerned about this because people that did watch episode 4 was kind of spoiling about, like, kind of like what, like, comparing it to Joker and stuff. Like, oh, was it actually real or was it all in his head? And I was very concerned about that because, like, that's what he was concerned about, saying, I don't want it to be that. And I was like, same, bro, I don't want it to be, like, was it all in his head sort of situation, because it fits more with the plot of Joker, but I feel like it wouldn't have fit here. And I'm hoping where, like, I feel like where we ended this episode, it kind of makes me feel like, okay, clearly it's not, this isn't, like, all in his head, and this isn't just, like, fake, and it's just been fake this entire time, and he's just been imagining this and just been insane. No, clearly something is going on where Arthur Harrow is doing something where it's, like, maybe, like, this is all playing out or something, or maybe he's still dead laying in the water, and this is just all going on in his head, and it's, like, Khonshu maybe letting him not die. I don't know what's really going on, because we end up finding out that, Layla's in there. What's that one girl's name, Beth, that was Steven's boss? It was... I'll look it up. She'll look it up. But, like, everybody that Steven encountered was all in the place. Layla, Arthur Harrow's goons. Arthur Harrow was in there. Steven's old boss was in there. They had the cupcakes that Steven had when he was Donna? Yeah, Donna was in there. I forget where we saw the cupcakes or whatever in the episode, but the cupcakes were in there that we've seen before. That marshmallow candy that Layla was eating was there. Like, the goldfish was there. There was a ton of things in here. And also there was a Marvel Legends Moon Knight figure on the floor, which I'm pretty sure that they haven't even dropped those yet. I'm pretty sure, but who knows? They might have, and I just don't know. But that's just insane to me that they're kind of trying to tell us, is this, like, or trying to convince us, is this all in his head? And that kind of made me like, oh my God, what's happening right now? I don't know if I like this, because I was afraid from what I was hearing from my bro Troy thing that people were comparing episode 4 to Joker. I was like, oh no. I was like, I don't want it to be where it was all in his head the entire time. But I don't think that's the case, because we get the moment where, like, he's talking to Arthur Steven, and he's like, like he's all drugged up. He can't really move. He can't really get a good sight on who's really talking to him until we get a focus up where it's Arthur Harrow with like a mustache. And, he's talking to Steven saying, oh, you're just ill or whatever. I'm here to help you. Just tell me what's going on. Until he mentions Steven's name, or I guess Mark's name, right? Wait, I guess he's Mark right now, but mentions Steven's name. And he's like, Steven? And he's like, yes. And then, I guess he sees in a reflection of the mirror, Mark, that Arthur Harrow is still wearing sandals. And he kind of convinces to himself, okay, this must be real. He's wearing the sandals. He has his cane. It might not look the same, but something is going on where I know I'm not crazy. Ends up getting his way out. Arthur Harrow's goons tried stopping him. He moves them out of the way and punches them and stuff because he's still able to fight, but he's all drugged up right now. Runs down the hall, sees a coffin pretty much in a room that is shaking, wanting to get out, and we hear Steven's voice, and then he opens up the coffin, and it ends up being Steven walking and getting out of the coffin. And now we have Mark and Steven, two different people, their own person, in this weird concoction that's either in his head or somewhere we don't know what's going on. And I was like, oh my god, what's happening right now? It's like they are their own person now. They're not sharing one body anymore. I was like, this is insane right now. And then we get the shot where they're walking down the hall, and they hear another coffin, and it's red, and it's shaking. And here I am thinking right away, that must be Jake. That must be Jake Lockley in that thing. And that's the only thing how I don't know if they're going to give him another name, probably not. But I was like, that must be Jake Lockley because it was all red. And and he wasn't screaming to get out. He was the coffin was just shaking. And it was a red coffin, which makes me think red for blood. And the one person that's been so violent is the third personality that we haven't seen yet, which I was like, okay, that could be Jake Lockley's coffin. Will we see him get out? Or will they let him out? I don't know. I'm hoping at some point we do see the introduction to Jake Lockley, which makes me think, do you think it'll be the last episode? They leave that off and maybe we see him in the next season, because I feel like Oscar Isaac didn't get he signed on for this one contract for this one series, this one limited series of a show. But who's to say that, for how popular the show is, I feel like it's definitely going to get a season 2. And I feel like, are they leaving it off where maybe Jake Lockley will be in season 2 and we'll actually see him? But I feel like that would make the fans upset that they're kind of hinting towards him. I mean, we won't see him until they leave it off where we might see him in season 2. They'll really show him in season 2. So I feel like we might get him in the next 2 episodes, clearly, because now we have the coffin moving, and I feel like they're going to be interested to know what's in there, and they'll kind of put together, is that our third personality that's been doing all the killing? And I feel like they'll have a conversation, do we really want to let that side out? That will be its own person and we can't stop him. So I don't know what's going to happen, guys. I'm very interested to know. But right when they don't even open the coffin, they end up walking down the hallway, and we see this big shadowy figure behind these doors. And right away I was like, okay, what's the shadowy figure? I thought at first it could have been Khonshu somehow, subconsciously in his head still. But no, it ends up being a hippo that said, hey, in a girl's voice, and then they both start screaming, which I thought was hilarious. At this point, this is just bad shit. I don't know what's going on. I'm so confused. I understand now why that fans were that did watch episode 4, that got the 4 episodes free to start off to watch. The people that have that ability to get sent out, or have that privilege to get sent out, that the first 4 episodes to watch, to review, but not giving away any spoilers until the episode finally comes out, that said that this is going to divide Marvel fans of the show right down the middle of people liking it and people not liking it. Because I heard a lot about that a lot of people did not like this 4th episode, and a lot of people did, and it ended up being they went and people knew that this was going to be a division in the fandom of Moon Knight, of this is people don't liking this episode and people liking this episode. I'm at the point where it was a very confusing episode, because I didn't really know much was going on, because a lot of things were happening. But at the point I'm I'm not liking this. I did not like this episode. I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch this episode. I'm definitely gonna have to again watch the new Rockstar's breakdown of episode 4, because I feel like they'll have more of an insight on what's going on. But even I watched the beginning of their of the episode, of their breakdown, they didn't even know what was really going on. So. But that was only in the minutes of them watching it, because they always show the end part of the last scene of the show, and then they go into their breakdown. So I don't know. I feel like they'll give me some more of an explanation on really what's going on. But it was a very chaotic episode. I still think episode 3 is probably by far maybe my favorite episode of the season so far. Because I feel like there was a lot of cool things going on in this episode. It reminded me of that episode. It reminded me a lot of Mummy and Indiana Jones, is what they were mentioning. I mean, they really hone in on the Indiana Jones, of them going in the tomb, them finding things, them like us seeing that, that movie that Mark was watching in the mental facility, and it reminded me a lot of Indiana Jones and stuff. I feel like we're really seeing the Indiana Jones, and and I feel like especially in this episode, we really see the mummy aspect popping through with him, with Steven really like going into the mummy's mouth to find Ahmet's statue. So that was disgusting. What were they called?
The organ jars.
Yeah, and the organ jars. I feel like we really honed in on the mummy in this episode, which I'm really loving. It was disgusting. I had to look away when he cracked open the jaw. I was like, that's gross. I can't even look at that. So Disney Plus is really stepping up. I'm really happy again that Kevin and everybody involved with the show really went full on with the show and didn't really hold back in the show. I think that's why people like this show so much, is because they weren't afraid to go to that level. I mean, not go all the way, but go to the level that we were not expecting for a Disney Plus show. And that gives me hope for, again, if we do a Ghost Rider series, if we do a Midnight Sun series, if we do the Daredevil series, even Wolverine. This gives me hope that if we're doing this now, I believe that we're gonna love those series to come if they end up becoming series or not. We know the Daredevil one is, but we don't know about Ghost Rider, Wolverine, or anything about that. But I think I have full faith that if they do a series, that after seeing this, I have full confidence that it'll be a really great series. Along with the fact of just, I don't know, I'm definitely going to have to rewatch it, like I said, guys. But I really want to know down in the comments below what you guys thought about this episode. My sister also thought that, Layla and Steven's, them kissing in this episode was too soon, and she felt like it was a little rushed. I felt like it had some time to flow where it makes sense that she would fall in love with Steven because Steven has so much in common with her. And in a way, she Mark wasn't too happy with the fact that, Steven ended, because he said, oh, you like Layla, you know what I mean? You're saying Layla has your back, but you like her, stay away from my wife or whatever, don't put your hands on her, I swear to God, I'll throw us off of a cliff. And she ends up trying to kiss him, but again, like I said, Steven finally tells Layla why Mark left, but he still ends up, kissing her, Steven, and Mark wasn't too happy about that. So, and it all boils down to in the beginning, of the when they were getting ready to go down, she's like, you smell like him, and she's like, of course you smell like him because it's his body and stuff. So it's very confusing to the point of I want to know down in the comments about how you how that is. It is weird because it's because me and my sister were talking about it, and probably people were talking about it online, that is it considered cheating that she's kissed Steven? And I was like, no, not really, because it's the same body and stuff, and in a way it's the same person, just it's a different personality. It's very hard, and it makes me think Steven clearly likes Layla, but how would that play out? Because again, Mark's still there, and Mark could still take over. So how could they even have a relationship if Mark takes over? I know that Layla still loves Mark because, they got married, but it's a very weird situation, and it kind of confuses me because I don't know how that's going to go, because I'm rooting for Steven and Layla to date. I like that more than Mark and Layla, but then again, we didn't start off with Mark and Layla, so I don't know. If I would have liked their relationship, probably I would have, but I will never know because we didn't start off with the main person, the main, altar, which is Mark. So, that's very interesting to me, guys. I want to know how you guys think about that in the comments below. I want to know, did you guys think this episode was weird, or did you guys like this episode? Did you guys like it, or did you guys dislike it? Do you guys understand what people were talking about when they got the first 4 episodes free to review and stuff without giving spoilers? You agree? And yeah, where do you guys think this is gonna go? Because I have no clue. I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch it, look at people's breakdowns and stuff to even come up with any theories of what's possibly going to happen. But yeah, I'm very interested definitely what's going to happen. This really is going to make people come back from the next episode, for people that maybe that people that maybe weren't interested before and maybe dropped off in the beginning, which I highly doubt. But for people that hear about this episode, they're probably gonna be like, oh my god, I need to watch up and find out really what's going on, because this sounds very interesting. So I feel like this is definitely going to make people go back, and I feel like the next episode's ratings are going to be very big, because people are going to want to know what the heck is happening, even though the ratings are really good right now for the show. But I feel like for people that maybe didn't like it in the beginning and hear what's going on, they're going to want to come and see what the hell's going on. Because I mean, hell, look at how good WandaVision did, and I mean, they kind of did what they did in this episode, where it's kind of like we don't know what's going on. Like, is it all in his head? What's going on? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's why WandaVision was so good, because it played that so well, and making us come back every week wanting to know what's going on. And they did that in this episode of episode 4. So that's why. So I do like it in that aspect of I really want to know what's going on, because I don't know what's going on. But guys, again, that was a video. Again, here, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, put on those notifications, like this video. I'd love to have you guys here, a part of the fam, a part of the channel. We're all about spreading love, positivity, and motivation. And guys, yet again, we are almost to 500 subscribers. So yet again, if you've come across my videos before, I would just love it again if you subscribe to the channel, put on those notifications, like this video. It helps out the algorithm, and it also helps out because I really want to have more people come join the fam here on the channel. I'm really trying to have this be one of the biggest YouTube channels on YouTube. I really want to make this channel that, and I really want to show people that you can achieve your dreams. Don't let anybody else tell you that you can't, because you can. And yeah, guys, I hope everybody has a great day, a safe day, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday for episode 5 of Moon Knight. Peace.